Okay, that's it about overprotective. Control is there, and sometimes the parents don't know when to reduce it or when to back up. And back off rather. And then the next is authoritarian. It's kind of similar to being overprotected. Authoritarian, and the authority is just there. There's a kind of fear that the parents pass to the children. Maybe, for example, there are some fathers, when they are coming back from work, the children cannot stay in the living room. They just have to run to their rooms. They can't stay. If the father is watching news, he can watch news all day. It doesn't give a bit of time for the children to have a moment to watch a kid's program or something like that. It's just what they want that the children have to do. You do as I say. As I say it, no complaint, no speaking, no talking. Don't respond. Just go. Authoritarian. Then the last one is authoritative. Authoritative parent. By what I studied, the authoritative parent is kind of the best. There is a need for the parents to put their foot down when they make decisions sometimes, because the parents are older than the children and they are experienced and they know what is best for the children. Parents need to be assertive. This is what you should do and this is what you should do. But when they give instructions, there should be a time for, it's kind of a mix of being permissive and being protective and all that. When they be assertive, they give the rules. You have to stick to it, but they still give some allowance to the children. For example, the children, they're not afraid in the home. They are at home and they feel that sense of belonging. They can give opinions. The parents can ask the children how they feel about certain decisions and all that. They have a voice in the home, even though there are rules, there are restrictions. For example, some parents can say, if you go out, you must not get in later than maybe 9 p.m. or so. That is the rule. The children know that I have to be responsible. I have to make the right decisions, and they allow their children to make mistakes, because they know that part of life, for you to succeed, for you to get the experience, and for you to get the experience you need for you to be a responsible adult, you make mistakes sometimes and correct that mistakes. It starts from even when that child is a kid. You allow that child, even when he's still a toddler, you let him go when he makes that mistake. For example, when you tell a child, don't go into fire, don't touch, it's hot, and you are protecting him from that fire, they'll be curious, they'll wonder why you want them to stay away from it. But if you let them experience, let them touch it, when they see that it's hot, they will draw away. Next time they won't go there. So that is another kind of parenting. A parenting that allows the children to do things, get experience, make mistakes and correct them, and the parents still guiding them. It's not that they leave them to themselves. They allow them gather experience, make mistakes and succeed in life. They have a voice. The children have a voice in the home. They make decisions. They allow, and when they get to a certain point, they allow them to make certain decisions concerning their lives. Okay, now going on to our discussion. Sister Fumi, now you are a parent. You are married, you are a parent. Now, can you describe the kind of parenting that you would like for your children? Because sometimes we talk bad about the way we were raised, like we are saying now, but many times we don't realize what they are doing until we grow up, until we become parents ourselves. When we become parents, you now look back and say, okay, thank God, this is what my parents were doing. We understand them better, that okay, because they don't want us to make the same mistakes. Maybe they had a rough childhood and they made some mistakes and they don't want us to experience the same thing. Maybe that is why they are so overprotective. But we see that no matter how bad it is, it has its good side and all that. So now as a parent, now you are grown, you know how it has affected you and all that, the things that you are willing to do to parent your child better. So how would you say that you would raise your child? Would you say you also want to be would you say you also want to be protective? No, let me not just let me not say protective. Would you say you want to be protective, or you want to be permissive, or you will just give a balance, just a little description of how you would how you think it will?
Let me say I'll give it a balance, because I don't want to train my children the way that it is not of God, because the Bible even supports it, that we should train our children so that when they grow up they will not depart from what you are teaching them. Fine, I will be protective but not overprotective. I will make my children to have free hands, so that when they make mistake, they'll be able to learn out of the mistakes. And when they make that mistakes, you sit them down, you teach them what life means. That okay, if you are doing something and you believe that this thing is not right, you have to like retry again. You don't have to relent, because for me, let me say, it's part of what my parents taught us, that you don't relent until you make that thing happen. So if you make a mistake, because let me say, then my father doesn't want us to make mistake at all. In everything, he believe is there for us. Even when I want to enter into secondary school, for me to go to faculty and do all these registration things, I don't know how to go about it. It was like he chose one sister for me as a school sister to be helping me all those things. But I don't like us. But I want my own children to be, to be independent, to know how to do things on their own. Not that maybe if you don't see me, you will not be able to do this. If you don't see your father, you will not be able to do this. So I want them to be free, but when they make mistake, I'll correct them and I'll teach them the way they're supposed to go. And yes, my mom gave us the access of being free with her. If you see me and my mom, people believe that we are like twins, because whenever anything happens to me, it is my mom, my dad. We will sit down together. But before I present something to them, I would have practiced, even do a lot of drama in the room before I present that thing to them. But at the end of the day, they will make me to understand some things. So this is the kind of life I want to balance it. I don't want to be too harsh on my children. Don't do this, don't do that. But in the aspect of like giving them free hands, but it will have a limit. It's not that to the extent that at the end of the day, you will not be able to how would I say, cuff them. It will not go inside your head. And at night, when you're supposed to free yourself to come to the living room to watch film or to watch other things, you'll be in your room. You and your sibling talking, gisting. There is no way you can come to expect you by 9 o'clock you must have sleep. So at times we always dodge ourselves under the curtain. We will be watching film with them. You know, we can't do things. I don't want all those things for my children. I want them to be free. When I give them instruction, yes, I want them to take it, and I want them to know when they are doing things that is not right. I want them to know that it's not right.
Okay. The same question goes to you. You are a father now. How would you raise your? Is it the same way you were raised, the same way you were brought up, or you want to add some things to the upbringing?
Thank you so much. As my sister has said, I will like to raise my child in a way that I will apply the principle of check and balances between the permissiveness and that of being protective. But on a more serious note, I would like to say something like it has to be specific. Like you have to specify at the stage at which you want to apply that kind of measures, like maybe being permissive or being protective. Because at early stage, I believe that you should be very caring, like the very early stage of like a child, like from 0 age to 6, you be very caring and show them love and let them know that you cherish them. But as time goes by, that they are developing and they are growing up, like to the stage of going to schools, primary school, secondary school, like this, towards becoming a teen and an adult, like apply like that kind of not too permissive, but you should you should be more disciplined, because at a stage of like 18 years, where they like maybe the government of the country is in such a way that maybe the government of the country that somebody is living grant everybody access to be free to do whatever he likes to do. You like it. I believe that it's that time that me as a person should apply a kind of disciplinary measures like on my child, because that period of time, they tend to lose control of themselves, as in on whatever they are doing, and they believe that they are free. So I believe that this being permissive and being protective, these measures has to work pari passu. You understand? I have to apply it pari passu so that everything can go on smoothly. But I don't want to be raised the way I don't want my kids or my children to be raised the way I was raised. The way I was raised was I don't like some aspects, but I still like some aspects. But everything depends on destiny and on God. But for me, if you will ask me that how will I want to raise my children, I will tell you that in the early stage, I would like to be very lovable. I will have to like show them love, cherish them, because I believe that baby or children, they are not thrilled, or maybe they are not moved by how much you spend for them at the early stage, but they will remember and it will be ringing in their mind the kind of love and the kind of affection that you show them at the early stage. So I believe that when they are growing up, we should mix together this principle, and we should balance it up so that everything can go on smoothly. But at the like 18 years, like when they are going to like adulthood, we should like because there's something that they call adolescent delinquency, useful exuberance, and if it is not properly controlled, because maybe a child that was raised with both permissiveness and protective measures of raising children, and when they grow up, they can tend to lose hands. So, but the way to cut things and make things work in order, I think that as a parent, I need to like be more disciplined, be more protective. You understand? But just for a short period of time to get them across the bridge of that adolescent delinquency, and so that they can be able to manage their life when they grow up. And I believe that this lesson, the lesson that they have learned when they are still children to the adults, we also give them a kind of insight that if they have their own children, they will know how to train their own children. So that by that time, they must have been independent and they will know how to do things on their own. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Going on, let's talk about discipline. Discipline. We know that discipline is very, very important. It's very important. Any home that does not have discipline, any child that is not disciplined will turn out to be a wayward child. Even right from a little age. There's something I read. I got to know that when you want to discipline your child, it has to start from even the early age. Between the age of 0 and I think 6 or so. It is the kind of, that's when you lay the foundation. Like for example, like what you said. Those times of childhood is a time for them to understand love. Like you said, understand that they are loved. From that stage, understand that they are loved and they have a kind of environment that is lovable to them. But at the same time, we also need to start instilling discipline from that moment, because if we don't create that foundation at that moment, it will be difficult for us to start it when they get older. Now, talking about discipline, there's all sorts of disciplines, like the kind of homes. If you do something, or if you dare do something, you receive a slap. You receive a slap. That kind of slap that when you get it, your brain will reset. Your brain will reset. For me, at home, when especially my dad, especially when we're being talked to, we're not expected to respond. We're not expected to talk back. Not talk back in the sense of maybe arguing, but even if we disagree with what we're saying, we're not expected to even say something. You're not just to say one word. It now affected me in a kind of way that even when you're expected to now talk, for example, what did you do when you went there? What did you do when I left home? You won't even be able to say anything. You won't even be able to say that. You'll be so afraid that you don't even know if what you want to say is right. Maybe you will earn a slap by saying so. You will just be mute. Even when you're expected to talk, you won't be able to talk. Or maybe every moment, just be quiet. Just be quiet. You're not even allowed to say anything. You understand? So now, discipline. We have parents who slap. We have parents who give knock. There's this pulling of the ears. There's this spanking. There's punishment. You know, some people don't use the stick. They don't use the rod. When you just hear, go and do and good night, you know what that means. That's the kind of punishment. You do like this, back against the wall, and you are there for hours. Even that is even worse than spanking. So now, what do we think about discipline? How do we correct our children? If we don't want to be too permissive to them, if we want to create measures of discipline, how do we do? Do we believe in spanking? Some people do not believe in that. Some people believe that if you spank a child too much, at the end of the day, when you get to a point, they'll get used to it. They'll get so used to it, and it won't even affect them anymore. While some believe that you need to spank, you need to beat, you need to do that as a point of time. Some people believe that you just have to speak to that child, speak sternly, and allow that child to realize that I'm really serious about what I'm telling you, and if you don't do this, I will do this, and you follow it up. For example, if you go there, if you disobey me, this is what I'm going to do. And you make sure you do what you want to do. Because if you don't do it, next time, when you're telling the child, I will do this if you don't do this, they'll feel that, okay, yesterday, he said he would punish me, didn't do it. So I can do it, I will still go away, I will get away with it. So some people believe that giving instructions and giving punishment when they disobey, they believe that is enough. While some people believe that, some parents do not even say anything. If you just do something, just know that when you see the face of that mother or that father, you know you're in trouble. You know that you will take 100 strokes of the cane. Some people, all sort of discipline methods that parents adopt these days. That is the kind of part of the world that we come from Africa. This is quite different from this part of the world. So now that we are exposed to all sort of things around the world, we have children in our environment now. not being disciplined, not being corrected, not being allowed to do whatever they want to do. Now, if we want to bring in discipline to our parenting, what is the best way that we think we would adopt?
Yeah.
Is it the way we were disciplined, or you do it a different way?
Let me say I will copy out of my parents' discipline.
Mention that.
Yes, I'll mention it because I remember then that when my father when you did something wrong, and you expect that my father will react at that moment. It might not be that moment that he will react. He will be piling it for you. The day my father will call you and said, "Look, your cup is running over." Just be very, very careful in whatever you'll be doing at that moment. He called you and said, "Your cup is running over." At times, if you do anything, my father will see it, but it will just keep away. It will not talk at that moment. But the next time, if you do it again, it will tell you that what you are doing, you think I don't know, but I know. The third time, it will now call you that your cup is running over. So the fourth time, in fact, if my father said you should go and kneel down, just know that there is nothing you will do for that day. You will eat that cake. But if my father said go and stool down, just believe that in the next 2 hours he will release you. So it doesn't want you to know the kind of punishment that he will give to you, so that at the end of the day you don't say, it's no more than leaning down, it's no more than this.
So that's what you want to adopt.
Yes, for me, I want to change that style.
Okay, do you believe in spanking?
And not all the time.
Or slapping?
No. For me, I don't believe in slapping, knocking, all those things. And even not all the time that you'll be beating your children because of what they did. At times, they need to be talked to. You sit them down. You make them to realize that, okay, this thing is no good. This thing is this and that. You talk to them. Even as they are growing up, the way you'll be talking to them in a matured way. So that as they are growing up, they will be applying that method into their system. But for you to, maybe a child just did something and you just pick a cane, you beat today, tomorrow you beat, the next day you beat. Even the child self will know, it's not more than beating. At the end of the day, you will still rest. So if I cry for like 1 hour, I will rest. And it doesn't stop that child to go back to what he's doing. So you just apply that system. Maybe at times when he did something that is wrong, don't allow him to know that, yes, you know that what he did is wrong and you know about it. But at that moment, the fear will be there for him that I don't know what my mother will say or what my father will say. You understand? Like my mother too. My mother her own is eye contact. If my mother do like this for you, just know that when you get home, you are in a cup of soup. Okay, I remember a day then I was still small. He was the one that is telling me that story. He said I went to a friend's house and he has warned me that if I get there, I should not eat anything. Even if they give me a cup of water, that I should not drink it. I don't know a reason for that. But when I'm getting there, the woman said, I just finished cooking jollof rice. In fact, I will have to serve you, even you, mommy, if you are not eating. Instead of me to say, no, thank you very much. And I look at my mom. I said, Mom, can I take it? She said, she didn't talk with the eyes contact.
No, yeah.
I don't say, Mommy is looking at me. On getting home, in fact, I hear it that day. So I really want to apply that method. Eye contact. Let your children understand the eye contact. At least when he's in the midst of friends and he's doing something wrong, immediately he sights you and you look at him or her, he will understand you immediately. So that is the kind of discipline I want to apply.
Okay, over to you. Discipline, no. Do you believe in beating, spanking, knocking, whatever, or just talking to the child?
If I want to talk, I need to being specific.
Yes, specific.
Yes. Now, if we are talking about beating, these are like disciplinary measures that we use to like train our children when they are growing up. But it is in levels, and at the same time, it depends on geographical location. It depends on where you are at a point in time of training the child. Maybe, for example, you are in abroad, like London or America, or you are in this country that we are now, or maybe you are in another place. But I believe that all this spanking, I believe that is African ways of raising, like disciplining children. But for me, I believe that as the world is growing, everything is changing, and every day everything is changing. But I won't, because of that change, I will not say that I will not train my child or I will not discipline my child, because training is a strong and important aspect of discipline. And all this spanking, beating, and every other thing, I don't believe that it's important, or let me say something that is very important in a child, in raising a child or training a child. I believe that, according to what my sister said the other time, that talking to a child, even in the Western world, there are some children at very young age that if they do something wrong, and if you talk to them, they will be crying, and they will say that, "Mommy, why do you say that?" And you know, I believe that words beat it used like, it sounds like pain on somebody's flesh than like maybe like beating them. I think it's more important like to talk to a child when she does something wrong or he does something wrong. So I believe the African way of raising a child, like beating, spanking, serving punishment and all that we've all passed through, I believe that now it is what is getting, everything is changing, everything is growing, and everything is, we are in a new world, and we believe that if we want to train our child, we should train our child according to what is going on and what is happening. We shouldn't believe that the way we are being trained is exactly the way that we should want our children to be trained. So I believe that, to me as a person, I would like to like train up my child in a way that is even far different from the way I was being trained, because beating is not, it doesn't always work, and punishment doesn't, even punishment and beating and spanking, it differs in it depends on the stages of the child. Maybe if the child is from 0 to 8 or 0 to 6 years.
There are some ways that there are some things that children would do at times that will makes you to beat them.
On a very good day.
Because to me, I believe that every things that children do has a way of punishing them. If okay, for example, you maybe you put down something that is very important to you, like maybe like a laptop now is very important, and at the end of the day you saw that maybe your child now went to the laptop, pour water or do sort of different things that at the moment, in fact the way you will handle that child, you will make him to understand that this thing, I use money to buy it. By beating him next time, if he wants to go there, he will remember what you did for him. So he will have to like step back. So that's why I said it has whatever our children are doing. They have every discipline for everything that they are doing as they are growing up. Like 0 to 6 that you said now, that is 0 to 6. Then they are still learning, and as they are learning, if they do anything that is not good, you can spark them then to teach them that okay, what you are doing now is not good. So as if he wants to go back to that thing, he will remember that I was beaten because of this. He will step back. From 6 to 12, that is when you start another different kind of discipline.
That
Yes, now
that was the reason why I said
that is when you start another kind of discipline.
another type
Because
of training. That was the
all
reason why I
six-
said
stages.
is different. You
All
understand?
6 to or 0 to start 6,
And
they will be stubborn.
And Sister Fumi, at the same time, it depends on where you are at that point.
My
in time.
dear brother,
Wait,
your
let me tell you.
being in foreign doesn't change.
If you are,
that you should not
there are
discipline
there
your
are some
children.
countries we don't say that we shouldn't teach spank or beat children. You understand? But not everything that they do, if they do something wrong,
Yes,
you beat
that is
them.
what
Not
I'm saying.
always.
That is not always. Not what everything that
But there are
they
some
do,
countries that
you
their
beating
rules
them.
and their law
Don't
doesn't
follow
give
the
you.
rules and the
I
law
know.
of any country. You
I
are
know.
coming
For-
from Africa.
for example,
so
I
you
know.
cannot follow
Yeah.
all those things. Okay,
If
even
you are in
all these
Africa.
Turkish people. That was a
My
day.
sister.
That was a day I saw
Okay.
a woman.
Okay.
The way she slapped that boy that day, I felt bad that no, she doesn't have to like slap the boy, but she's supposed to apply wisdom the way it will train and discipline the boy. But you know, all these foreign people that we are saying we are copying, we are copying. They too, they have a different way they discipline their children.
Okay.
But it's not exposed to us.
I want
You
to say
understand?
something, please. I want to say something in terms of that discipline. I want to say something. For example, a country like Switzerland, if you have to discipline your child, there is a way that there is what like there is a way of disciplining children in Switzerland. If you have to do something bad to a child, or you beat your child, and your child goes to school, and he maybe mistakenly or by mistake or error, and maybe he tells another person that my mother beat me today, police will come through the school and arrest the parents. You understand? Even the same thing, even applicable to those people that are living in England. But I want to tell you something, that this child discipline of a teen, spanking and beating, it depends. You can only apply that kind of measure in a location that you are. Maybe the location that you are does not permit that kind of training.
Okay, so if you're in a location that does not permit that, how would you?
Thank you so much. I believe that in all parts of the world right now, globally, there is something that like people used to do in terms of child training that really works. It depends on the level, as I've said. When a child is still a baby, like 0 to 8, 6 years old, there is a kind of training you give them. From 6 to 12, there is a kind of training. But I believe that talking to a child, you understand, talking. There is something that happened. I want to say it, an event that happened when I was in the university, maybe before entering to the university. There was a child. The child happened to be a daughter of my my former vice principal in the school, and we were training the child on how to recite ABC. And the father, being a teacher, the father has been beating the child, like spanking the child, spanking her. You should learn how to do this. And one of my friends now told me that call this girl, and we call her and we talk to her that this thing your child and your father wants to know this thing before maybe in 3 days time. Then how can you do? What can you do to help us? We want to teach you. And she told us that if you give me a rest of mind, no problem. I can try and maybe read and cram it and like to know how to do it. And we bought like a couple of drinks for the girl, and we bought biscuits, and we put on a video, like a cartoon video, that if you watch this video, then we teach you. If you know, like from this line to this line, we give you biscuit and we give you Coke or minerals or something like this, like to like encourage the child. Do you know that day the child can be able to recite, if not perfectly, A, B, C to Z, but as time goes by, like 2 days later, the child was like singing A, B, C, D, and the father was like, so this is my child, so he can now do this. So from there, I now believe that if you want to train your child, you don't have to like apply a kind of strict discipline that can implant a kind of fear into them. I did a course in school. They called the course Philosophy and Logic. In philosophy, they made me to realize that if you give birth to a child, their mind is tabula rasa. Tabula rasa means that it's free there is nothing inside. It is what, like, you train, the discipline, the training you give to them, that will now come into their mind. And that thing, if you are not careful, if they are not properly trained or well trained, it will go as they develop, as they grow up, the thing will grow with them like an instinct, and they will be applying it in their everyday life. So it is the early stage of child training is very important.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, Sister Nada. Let's not cut you out. Okay, you're not a parent yet, but talking about discipline now, or have you started looking towards that area that when you have your child, this is the particular way you're going to train your child, this is the kind of disciplinary measure that you're going to give to your child?
I believe that it depends on the age of that child. And when the child is young, when you talk to them, they may not be able to understand you. So sometimes it will require, like, maybe you draw them from there or like something. But as they are growing, you then have to adapt to different methods, like sitting them down and telling them. For instance, when you tell a child to come to the house at exactly 8 o'clock, it's a discipline measure that you have to make the child to understand why he or she has to come to the house before that time. When the child is able to understand and able to cooperate, it will be easy for the child to fix into that time or that law or whatever you have put in place. When they have that understanding. And also, when you are able to appreciate them on the good things they do, they know that when they do a bad thing, you won't smile at them. And whenever they have that mind, they want to stay at peace with you. So they prevent themselves from doing wrong, just to maintain that kind of relationship you have with them. So whenever they do right, you reward them, appreciate them, let them know that you have done this and I really love it.
That is the system that they are using right now.
So that when they are going wayward, you cannot tell them that, hey, you did this, I liked it, but this one I don't like it. So that they will know that when I do this, my father does not like it or my mother does not like it. Rather than trying to impose on them and trying to. So that is what I can.
My sister, to catch what you've just said now, I believe that this is a global system right now. They believe that if they do something bad, there isn't any reward. But if they do something good, there is always a reward.
And that means that is when they are growing
so
up.
that is encouragement.
That is when they
level.
start to understand what you are saying.
Things, yeah.
But the reason why I said is 0 to 6, they are still learning.
Yeah,
so
training,
you just need to apply that discipline for them.
Yes, of course, it's necessary.
So when it is the time that they can understand you, that the time that you can sit them down to talk to them, that is when you now apply that kind of discipline.
Yeah.
Okay. Now concerning that, I want to mention that I'm facing that issue currently. You know, I have a son who is less than 2. He will be 2 years in about 3 months' time. And recently, I started thinking that I've been too. Okay, for example, it's a boy, and you know naturally they want to explore. They want to go out. They start climbing and pulling and going to all sorts of places. Now, naturally, the impulsive thing I would do is shout. Maybe he's doing something. Hey, David, don't do that. Or when I get close, when he does something, I spank him. You know, I spank him. And at the same time, I also use that eye contact method. For example, maybe when we are out, maybe for example in church, he's doing something. Yesterday, I still did it. He was taking the car outside. I was like, where I was, I just made eye contact with him, and I just motioned, take it back. Even if I had to repeat it about 2-3 times, by the end of the day, he still did that. Now, I'm trying to access it. That have I been shouting, me and his dad? I've just been thinking about it. Have we been shouting too much? Have we been spanking too much? Will it not get to a point where that spanking and all that will not work anymore? Or, it's just a kind of, we are first-time parents. We have not done this before. It's just like a kind of experiment for the first child. Like, which method will really work? Should we just slow it down a bit and allow him just explore? But there's sometimes that he spoiled my phone a while back. He hit my phone and the screen just broke. And I'll be like, this child doesn't understand this thing. He doesn't know the importance of a phone. It is me who knew it. But I kept it in a place where he was able to reach it, and he broke it. He was playing with it and he broke it. So it's not his fault, it's my fault. So if I punish him for that, I think I'll be guilty of that. But how do I now draw that balance on when to, at the same time, I still want to instill that discipline in him, that when I speak to you, you have to obey, even at that age. And I'm seeing that. But I tend to like look back that, is it start getting too much? I mean, have I ever doing too much spanking and all that? And there's something we also adopted. We adopted punishment and praise. When you say do this thing and he does it, we clap for him.
Yes.
We make him to realize that, okay, you have done something good, he's happy and all that. But when he does something bad, we frown at him and all that. So he's getting that message that there are some things I do that are good, there's some things that I do that you don't understand. So that those kind of things, I make sure that I don't forget that if he does something that we expect him to do, so maybe take your plate to the kitchen, the sink and all that, and he does that. When he comes back, good boy and all that. So that kind of thing is good, right? But the spanking part, I'm not a parent that will not spank. No matter where I am, I'm not a parent that will not spank. I believe in that, but not excessively. Not excessively. There will be a time when I will speak. I will just need to speak for that child to understand. There will be a time that the only time when I spank is maybe don't do this thing. Don't, and maybe out of his willfulness, he just wants to. That I spank. But sometimes I feel that I'm doing it too much. Maybe I'm doing it too much sometimes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
With the way you have been like disciplining your child, like training your child, what is the effect what can you say, this is what I see? Like all the systems you have been using now, all the method you have been using, like to train your child, what is the result? What can you say?
I've said a bit of it.
Okay.
When it gets to a point,
like
yes, my observation is that, like I said before, when I have eye contact, sometimes he wants to do something and he looks at me. Like one day, we were at the park. I took him to the park. He was going to school. We had to wait at the park. Then I sat there. Then he wanted to climb the slide, but he started looking at me, trying to observe my face to see if I will approve it or I will frown at it. He paused a bit. He was just reluctant. He wanted to do it, but he wanted to look at my reaction. He wanted to see if I would say go or not. But I smiled. I just smiled. I said, go on ahead, go on and do it. Then he went, he climbed, he still looked at me before he now gained the confidence and continued. You know, if he looked at me like that, if he wanted to do something else and he looked at me like that and I frowned, he will pull back. He will pull back. But one thing I'm still concerned about is that is that not instilling a kind of fear? Not fear per se, but in his mind, it's like, it's not everything I do that my parents will approve of. I have to check and see if I'm doing the right thing or not. If I see their faces, allowing, permissive, then I go on and do it. But if they frown and all that, you say, he understands that. So I believe that at that point, at that age, they can understand when you want them to do right or wrong. The only issue is that have we been spanking too much? That is,
to me, I would say that is not too much because you're still learning. You understand? He is still learning. So, and for now, you know that with all these things that you have applied, he is learning out of it. He has understood some things that, okay, if I do this, if I look at my parents, with their reaction, that means they permit it. If they don't permit it, I know the reaction. So all those things that you are applying now, the boy is learning out of it. So that when he grows up, he will know that, okay, this is bad and this is wrong. Because of what he has learned from you. To me, I say, as I said earlier, I said, like you said, that you're a parent that you spank. Yes, me, I spank let me, even if you are not my son, if I see you doing something that is not wrong, no, I will not take my eyes off it. I will let you know that this thing that you did is wrong. You understand? Because that's why the Yoruba people always say that it is not only parents that how they say it, that has access to teach their head. All people, if you are a parent, you apply it. There is no how. If you see something that is not right, and you kept away from it, it means that when your own child is doing it, you will have to so all those things. That's why I said these children, they are learning step by step. Sparking him, okay, like when you said climbing, this thing is it's common for all these children, and it's very, very harmful. You see at times the way it felt down. So those things will affect you as a mother. That how can this a child fell from this place? So you have to no, don't do this again, don't do that again. For you, then you are teaching him some things that he doesn't know. But if you keep quiet and maybe it felt down today, you will believe that thing is good. Tomorrow you will go back there again. To the extent that there will be a day that we go to the one that is even more harmful with the one that he has been doing. So if you spank him, if you shout at him, if you look at him, he is learning out of those things that you are teaching him.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We are going to take a very short break, and we call this the moment of breather, where we are going to have some amazing facts around the world about our health or the Bible. Today we are going to be having two facts of the Bible. The first one is that we always believe that Adam and Eve disobeyed God, yes, and they got sent out of the Garden of Eden due to their disobedience. But I'd like to say now that they were not driven out of the Garden of Eden because they disobeyed. They were driven out because they didn't want them to be like them. After God gave them the punishment, you Adam, you will do you get this punishment. Eve, this is your punishment. The serpent, this is your punishment. Then God now said, we have the tree of life. If we don't send them out of this garden, they will also go there to eat from it. That was why God sent them out. I'll read that from the book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 21. It says, and the Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. That is after he has given them their punishment. And the Lord God said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and also take from the tree of life and eat and live forever. So Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden to walk the ground from which he has been taken. Hallelujah.
Amen.
If you have any contrary opinion, search your Bible and bring it up. Now, the second fact is that we grew up learning about the birth of Jesus and this concept of the three wise men. In the book of Matthew called them the Magi, the ones who saw the star in the east and came to worship Jesus Christ as when he was born. But in the Bible, we're not told that there were three. In another maybe Luke or so, the Bible mentioned them as shepherds. Here in Matthew, they were called Magi, and they were not three. They only presented three gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The Bible didn't say there were three. The Bible didn't even give us a number. So there's that erroneous fact that we think the three wise men that came from the east. They're not three. The Bible didn't specify the number. They just said they presented three gifts. The gifts are three, but we don't know the number. So that's the second fact. If you want to counter it, read your Bible and bring it on. Hallelujah. Okay, we continue. The next thing we're going to be doing is that we're going to be reading comments and questions. There are a few of them here. Once again, I'd like to thank our viewers for watching and sending your comments. Okay, the first is a question by Psalmist Samijel. It says, I have a question. Could parents' upbringing determine if the child will be an introvert or extrovert? Upbringing. The kind of upbringing you got. Will it determine if you're an extrovert or introvert?
How will I say? Determines. Depends on the kind of upbringing that you are giving your child as a parent. So it depends.
Okay. Well, Kenny.
I believe that it depends because if you are the type that you are very disciplined, you are overprotective of your children, you don't allow them to go somewhere, you don't allow them to go to party, you don't allow them to socialize. I believe that it can have a great effect on them being to be an introvert. And if you are permissive or too permissive and you give them free hands to do whatever they like, you understand, it can open a door for them to become an extrovert. So this is what I believe.
Okay, Sister Nadia, what do you
I
think?
It usually affects the child. I mean, usually, but not all the time. Because some kids, for instance, with my own, it was both systems. My father was not too strict. He was also a bit permissive. But my little sister is much of an extrovert. Although
you had the same upbringing.
Yeah.
Okay.
She goes out, dance, she dances in public.
You don't dance. I never see.
Yeah, so, but we are all under the same upbringing. So no, it depends
on personality.
Yeah, on personality. Yeah, it depends on personality.
Okay, what I think, I also think too that being an introvert or extrovert actually is a natural thing. For example, if you have those traits in your parents, for example, for me, my mom is an extrovert. My father is an introvert. So some of us, most of us, we carry those two traits. You know, the introvert is more. We also have the extrovert traits. So I think being introvert or extrovert comes from your parents, the DNA, what you took from them. Sometimes you look like your father in attitude and all that. So I think it's from your parents. But the upbringing also shapes it. It also shapes it. It also enhances it. If you're an introvert, for example, like what she said, she's an introvert, she has a sister who's an extrovert, they had the same upbringing and they're still different. So I think the upbringing, it also affects it, but it doesn't really determine it. That's what I think. Okay, the second one is a comment. It's from Paul Ashi. It says, I think the problem is that parents act on experience and wouldn't want a repeat of such to reflect on their children, especially when the experience is bitter. Then the fear of the society. But then I think what a child needs is to understand the principles within our home. I suggest we should be flexible, but with principles. They know us very well and can play their games right. But then it all begins with the word of God and prayer. Concerning this, I want to say that there are some children who grew up in very godly homes. They are overprotected. Godly homes, but when they got on their own, they turned something else. And what I would like to say is that if a child is an extrovert, one needs to be careful. Because when you camp an extrovert too much, in your presence, he might pretend to you that, okay, this is this. But when he gets to be on his own, he will do what he wants to do because he's an extrovert, and if he's not careful, he might turn wayward. So I think also another point that we need to consider is actually the personality trait of our children. If a child is an introvert, the upbringing for that child is different. If a child is an introvert, naturally he doesn't want to relate, he doesn't want to mix up, he wants to be on his own. We should encourage that child to have social, to be able to. But a child who is an extrovert, he wants to go out. We can curtail that child's excesses a bit, but we will not permit him too much. We will give him confidence. Allow him to be confident to be who he is, but we will still. So I think personality traits also determines the kind of upbringing. Then Samijel also says, it's shouting aloud because it's rampant in the Western world. For example, in this country, we see parents shouting, yeah! They scream so much, they yell so much, and the kids do the same. For example, when we are teachers, when a child gets angry, they scream, they yell, they do all sorts of things because that is what has happened to them at home. And it's also similar to what the question I asked about the concern I've been having, that have I been shouting too much over this child? Have I been shouting at him too much? Is it getting too much? And all that. So let's talk about that. Shouting.
To me, shouting It depends on what the child, maybe the mistake the child did at the moment. If it doesn't warrant you to shout, even immediately as a parent, you know the next thing to do. You understand? At least if a child did something and you believe like, what will I do to this child? Maybe the next thing you just carry him and put him in one place. You didn't do something at the moment, but there will be something that the child will do that even you two, you will not be able to control yourself. You would have shout
before you
know
that shouldn't have shouted.
So this thing, it comes with our emotions. You understand? It comes with our emotion. Immediately you see something, you just shout. At the moment, you just, at least for some minutes, you relax yourself. Did I need to shout?
Sorry, I remember a scenario that I want to talk about that I learned from. Okay, I've been used to all this kind of, when a child does something, you do why and all that. So I met a couple, and I was there. We were at a birthday party, and she's a sister. I call her sister. She's a big sister to me, and her child was there. Her child was about maybe 3-year-old or something. Then the child was playing. We were sitting close to the wall, and the child was playing. She was jumping and all that, and she hit her forehead against the wall, and it was bleeding. In my mind, I'll be like, can't you see that this is a wall? Do you want to? You can see that there's a wall there. Why are you playing there? That would be my reaction. But the mother did not shout. She just pulled the child to her and started cleaning the face and telling her sorry. She was crying because she got hurt, and she cleaned this and she didn't even.
No, you can't expect that anything. She would beat her at the moment when she was crying.
But me, the first thing, even though she was not my child, inside of me, that reaction was welling up that, can't you see that this is why should you play and hit your head on the wall? So I learned something from that incident. I learned something from it, that it's not all the time that you should be able to come down to our children's level. We should know that we are wiser than them. They are not as wise. We should deal with them according to their age. At that level, does she understand that? Maybe in her mind, she doesn't understand that she's too close to that wall. She sees the wall, but she didn't know that she's too close to it, that she will hit her head. She didn't know. That's a mistake for her. Next time she'll learn from it. So the mother didn't shout at her. But inside of me, if I was going to react to that, shouting would be the next thing. So,
like what you said the other time, you said if you are telling children, maybe you are telling a child that you should not go to fire. You are protecting him not to go there. In fact, he will not know the essence of you covering him not to go to that fire. But once he tested it and he knows that this thing is hot, but he will have to pull out.
You probably have go through. There are some children that even if he tested that thing and sees that it's hot, he will still.
There is no how a children will know that this thing is hot. If you take his hand to go there again, he will pull you back because he knows that no, I've tested this thing is hot. So next time, she too, if she's playing, if she's going near that wall, she will have to balance herself because he knows that this is where I got this. You understand? So
that incident that I saw, I saw a mother communicating love to that child. Okay, she cleaned the wound and she petted her, and she was like, he was telling her that there's a word there, you shouldn't play like that. And, she could understand that message at that moment.
Can I ask, what is the age of the child?
About 3. About 3.
That's
so at that moment,
the stage that you should apply love.
She could take that instruction.
Because they don't know what they are doing.
Yeah. She could take that instruction at that moment. But maybe if we have shouted, it will just be fear. Understand that we just instill into that child. So even when we have been showing this thing to our children, we should also caution ourselves sometimes so that we don't make it a pattern that everything shout. Like where we live now, we see shouting and it has become a pattern. Shouting. So even if you don't, if a child sees that my parent does not shout, my mother or my dad, they don't shout, maybe they did something so and they
He
get
or
so
she will feel
it that my mother doesn't get like this. What that means something I've done as getting is so wrong. So I think it shouldn't be a pattern.
Even it comes to a time that they do something wrong, and if they know that what they have done is wrong, they will not. Maybe they fall down from a place.
Yeah.
They will not cry.
No,
you will expect them to cry. They will not cry. They just hold it.
To me, if I said don't go there and you go there, I will leave you. Because I know that when you learn your lesson, no, you come back. You will not go there again. So
we shouldn't allow our children to get so hurt because we want them to get
no, it's not that they will get so hurt, but when you are hot, next time that thing will it will teach you a lesson that no, if I go there again, I don't know what else can happen again.
It's part of training.
The next comment is, I will not subscribe or accept that our location should determine. Maybe the other person is responding to what you said.
Okay.
He said that I will not subscribe or accept that our location should determine our actions on our children. We may not beat, but can be disciplined, depending on the gravity of the offense.
Of course, I accept that.
Beating always doesn't mean discipline. Sometimes you can just punish. Sometimes you can say, okay, you won't have lunch today.
Or maybe you have promised to buy something for him, and you said that thing, I'm not buying it. So all those things hurt them because their mind is there that you want to buy something for them, maybe like a clothes, and he's happy to get that clothes, and he did something wrong, and you said that clothes I am not buying again. So it will be sober. With no, even him himself will come back to you to start begging.
Yeah, I also think that when our kids show that they are sorry, I think we should.
You learn to pardon them. But at that moment, you make them to realize that.
That is when we need to speak to them.
Yes.
So that at the same time, this is very important. If you study your child very well, that he loves something so much, or he gives attention to that thing, like maybe cartoon or toy or anything, you can use that to also correct the child. You understand? You can withdraw that from the child, and maybe the child can be like a little bit sober and maybe like reflect on what he or she has done and think over it, that what I've done is not good. And if you see the soberness in him or her, then you can
like my sister now. She said whenever she wants to punish her children, maybe they did something wrong and she wants to punish them. He knows that they like this cartoon, or I don't remember the name.
Tom and Jerry.
No, not Tom and Jerry. He just called the name of the cartoon somehow. He said when it is time for them to watch it, he will off the TV. That is when problem will start. That is when they will ask, "Mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I will not do this again." Mommy, later on, you will still allow them to watch, but at that moment, you make them to realize that, okay, I don't like this, I don't like it. So,
like what they have said, other forms of punishment, by doing what they like, what they want to do, those things. So those things, because what I can say is, children go immune to certain forms of punishment. Even the shouting, when you shout too much, you come to a time you won't mind doing it.
So it doesn't have to become a pattern. It can just come with different kind of things.
You go immune to it. So at a time you do it, then some other time, so that they don't get used to it.
When they get used, it doesn't change anything.
You should not. I support what you said. You should not allow your children to know the kind of punishment that you want to give, or the kind of things that you can do to them. Just let them predict you that maybe my mommy will beat me, or maybe will ask me to this, but your own way you just come up with another thing, so that fear will be there.
Like as a teacher, you should be like a teacher to your child. Maybe your child is like your student and you're a teacher. So any disciplinary measure that you want to set in, like as a rules for your child, it has to like be every now and then. It has to like be. You have to change it. It doesn't have to be only once. You have to like be twisting and changing. Don't let him know or I know that this is the direction that I'm coming from, or this is what you want to do. Everything has to be multicolored. So that is it. I think that be with that. He will not even sometimes he will not want to do some things because he wouldn't know what you will do next.
You will do, yeah.
So that is it.
You can't predict your actions.
Yes, that is it.
So that means that we have a lot of work to do as parents. That we
Of course.
Exactly. That's why I said it's stage by stage.
We can't afford to be absent-minded. We have to know our children.
Exactly.
I think parentage is like a course of study on its own.
In fact,
You
it's
should
not
study very well. You understand?
So that when we have to be ready to be parents before we bring in children.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We have to be mature enough to parent
Of course.
before we start having children. So the last comment we have here is from Oyekomi Dominic Luche. It says, you don't beat a child all the time or for every offense, so that your discipline measure doesn't turn to be abused. But there is no way beating can be erased from child discipline if you want the best for that child. Proverbs 22:15 says, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Hallelujah. Our pastor has quoted.
Yeah, I feel.
Okay, so just like he said, our measures should not be too rigid. We shouldn't depend on just one form of, But we've been talking about punishment. Now let's talk about praise. A praise is also a very important part of child upbringing. Very let's not make our children feel that just punishment. I mean, right. If they are doing something right, we should praise them. We should let them know that I love you. I appreciate what you did. I love what you just did. I mean, they will be encouraged to even do more because they will prefer that than getting punishment from you. Yeah. For example, maybe you passed in your exam, or I told you to wash plates and you did. Thank you for doing that. I like what you did. I love what you did. I love that. Keep it up. You should act like when we are teachers. When a child does something, maybe he answers it right. We're told that we should give praise. I mean, we should praise the child. Like, well done, good job. The same thing for our children also. They should also know that they are doing the right thing. We should praise them maybe with a smile, with a thumbs up, something to encourage them for them to know that, oh, you have done well. You have done well. You have done well. They will know that I don't just get punished, but I also get praised. Maybe an extra tip, yeah. An extra something. I mean, an extra meat, something that will make them feel so loved and all that. And we should create an environment of love for our children. Acts of love, or hugging. Yeah. Children love hugging so much. Yeah. Hugging, kissing them on the forehead, kissing. I mean, those acts, we shouldn't shy away from that. Many of us didn't grow up with that. We don't have parents that hugs us. We don't have parents that tells us they love us. You understand? So we didn't really know. But right now, these days, it's better for those children. For them, it will stay somewhere in their psyche that my parents love me. If you tell your parents all the time, I love you, hug them, kiss them, I mean, show affection towards them, I think it will also help them to behave well.
Yeah, it's true.
And when you are angry with them, they will know my mom is angry. Yes, they know this is not a right time. I've done something really wrong. But when they have done something right, or all the time, they should also see that expression of love from their parents.
Yeah, I support that, and I really told, like you said, some of us grow up, in a way that they don't even they love us,
but yes, they don't say it,
but they don't
express it.
But if your children is doing something right, yes, it is better you praise that child. You let him know that what you are doing is right. Even in academic, you continue to appreciate what he's doing. Even if it is not enough, but the little one it did to make you proud, you will have to credit him or her. I'm proud of you. I love you. Even to the extent that you can just take them out. You maybe you buy ice cream, or you just tell them what do you want me to do for you, and at the long run they will be applying that thing that I don't want to disappoint my parent, because this love I will not allow it to stop. You understand? So with that, they will continue with those things that, okay, if I can't make effort on this thing, how will my parents feel? So with that love that you are showing them, they will be trying their best to make up to you as a child.
So this is what I would say. I just believe that training up a child, all this thing we are saying is part of training. If you do something wrong, you get a result. If you do something that is right, you get a result. So I believe that encouragement is praise for maybe well done. That good thing that you have done as a child, and at the same time discouragement and chastisement, like maybe panking and all this frowning, is another discouragement as a result that you get from your parents for wrongdoing. So I believe that this also part of a child's training. So, and I believe that we shouldn't shy ourselves away from like panking or other sorts of punishment. But I believe that I want to stress on this, talking to our child, like a kind of one-on-one. And this one depends on stage of the child. Talking one-on-one to, I watched a film, a child, she does something wrong, and the father was like, I expect the father to like beat the child or do something. You know, these white people, he just called up the child and talk one-on-one and made the child to realize that what he has done and the resultant effect of what he has done and the consequences. So I believe that if we can call our child, like maybe if he has done something wrong, that this is what I have done. If you do something like this is what is going to happen. If you do something like this, what is going to happen? I think that it goes a long way in like reshaping the mentality of the child. If he grows up with that kind of mentality, he's going to be better. It's going to make him a better adult and a better man in future. So I think that talking one-on-one is also very good because it calls for understanding and it calls for a kind of right thinking. Thank you so much.
Okay, do you want to add something?
Yeah, what I want to add is like, in whichever way we train up our children, we should also have it in mind that we are also preparing them for their own children.
Yeah.
Yes, like we don't want them to sit somewhere someday and say, I didn't like how my parents treated me or what I went through. So no matter what you do to them, you think about your grandchildren. Like if that child is to do that same thing you are doing, will you be happy? So I think in bringing them up, we are actually preparing them for their own parenting as well. So that's what I can say.
All right, thank you. The last comment here says, Proverbs 22:15 allows rod, therefore we can use rod instead of that method. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Before we go, I'd like to give a biblical perspective concerning parenting. We found a number of parents, fathers in the Bible who were so permissive. Like an example of Eli. Is it Eli or Eli? Eli. He was too permissive. The Bible says God, punished him for allowing his children to be so wayward. They would steal money from the tabernacle. They would sleep with women and all sort of things. And God punished him because of that. He was too permissive as regards to his children. Okay, what does Bible say? What does Bible say about parenting? We have a few common scriptures that parents can look into when shaping their parenting styles. And Colossians 3:20-21 says, "Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Fathers, do not embitter your children, or they will become discouraged." We as children, we should obey our parents. We should obey our parents. We should obey our parents as children. Even if we don't disagree, even if we disagree with them or stuff, we should pass it across with respect, and we should obey them. We should realize that they are the guidance that God gave to us to nurture us to a point before we even become independent on our own. And we should not blame our parents too much for the kind of upbringing they gave to us, because a child does not come with a manual. When you buy a TV, you have a manual. This is what you should do. This is what you should. But a child comes. It is whatever you do that you will do. And a child who is not so knowledgeable, we realize that our parents they did what they did because that is what they knew how to do. They didn't do beyond what they knew. So even if we didn't like what they did, we should try to look at the positive sides of what our parents has done, and because they didn't want us to go through commit the same mistakes that they made. That's why sometimes they get so harsh and all that. They didn't know better. That's I can say that. So we, as in this generation, we can, just like we are addressing it right now, we can, if there's anything that we need to improve about that, we can think about our children. But one thing I realized is that those parents that are so harsh, when they have grandchildren, they become
in fact, their grandchildren is like heaven to them. Even if you as a mother touches
some
them,
children,
you are in soup.
some children, they want to escape from their home to their grandparents. Because when they get there like this, their grandma will give them
exactly.
You allow them to play, you will do this and another, but they so I wonder what causes it when those so ash, like my mother and I used to tell her that now you're now soft. Before she was like
my father now, all before he dies, all his grandchildren they are like heaven in his hand. Even my sister, she told me a story that my father called him and said, I could remember I promised your girl a teddy of beer, and my sister said, wow, daddy, you promised teddy bear. I can't believe it. So I don't know the reason why the grandchildren are so.
I don't understand. Okay, Proverbs 13 verse 24 says that he who spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is careful to discipline him. So discipline is also important for us as parents. We don't have to spare the rod. If you spare the rod, that means you hate him. You don't want him to be responsible. Psalm 103 verse 13 says, as a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. We know God as a father, and as a father, he chastises us. And the Bible says that it is the child that he loves that he chastises. So when we want to show love to our children, we should also chastise them. Yeah. We shouldn't just leave them and just show love and all that and be so permissive that we don't correct them. Deuteronomy 6 verse 5 to 8 says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your heart. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your forehead. That's an instructions for us, for our children. We should make our children know the way of the Lord. From the very little age, they should know that there is a God. They should know what the Bible says. They should know what the Bible teaches. We have seen children who preaches. We have seen children who ministers. It is what they learned. It is what the kind of training that parents give to them. That is what is showing up. If you say that they are still kids, we don't allow them to go to church with us. We don't allow them to pray. We don't allow them to study the Bible with us. It will tell on them. So we should train our children in the way of the Lord. Proverbs 14:26 says, he who fears the Lord has a secure fortress. For his children, it will be a refuge. When a parent trains his child well, they will be able to relax at their old age. It will be like a kind of achievement for them at their old age, because they will start bearing the fruit. They will start reaping the fruit of their labor over their children. Proverbs 20 verse 7 says, the righteous man leads a blameless life. Blessed are his children after him. Isaiah 54:13 says, all your sons will be taught by the Lord, and great will be your children's peace. Not just your children, even you will have peace over your children when you train them in the way of the Lord. Proverbs 19:18 says, discipline your son, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to his death. There's some children there's some parents who push their children to death by not correcting them. A child goes out, brings a pencil that is not his. You don't correct, you don't ask questions. Comes in with ice cream when you did not give him money. Where did you get this ice cream from? You can't question, you can't correct. Gradually the child starts displaying some wayward acts. That parent is pushing their children to death, are becoming willing party to their death. So that is that about parenting according to the biblical standards. And I've enjoyed this session so much, and I believe that our viewers also enjoyed it. It's been 2 hours I've been discussing this, and it feels that we shouldn't end, but we just have to wrap it up. So I want to say thank you for coming. Sister Nadia, thank you. But Desmond, thank you. Sister Fumi, thank you very much. And to our cameraman behind the camera, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, before we go, I'd like to say that we are done with the edition of August edition of Pep Lounge. Next month is another time for us to discuss another beautiful topic. And for the month of September, the same time, third Saturday of September, we will also be having another wonderful session, and it's coming up on the 22nd of September. 22nd of September, please make it a date. Please, even after we end this session, please, you can still share the videos, invite your friends to watch, and you can still keep bringing in your comments and questions and opinions, and we would answer them. So it's a wrap on today's show. Thank you once again for tuning in, and we'd like to see you again next month. We'd like that you join us once again next month. So from here, we say bye-bye.
See you next time.
See you.